What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is August 12th, 2024. It's the first day of school for a lot of you. And, the market was madness today. It was pretty amazing, actually. One of the best polls in our community's history today. I think we're at 16 red and 167 green or 170 something green. I'll show you at the end. I pasted it on the chart. I don't remember what the exact number was, but pretty amazing. There was beautiful plays today to take today, guys, and you could have been done really, really early in the morning, which was awesome, right? Because this is something we're striving for. I don't know about you, but I'm not looking to stay in front of this computer all day long, especially if I don't have to. All right, with that said, my throat's on fire. So this is going to be a relatively quick video. We're going to get through the couple of trades that we found early in the morning. We'll point out a couple that we found later in the day, but I'm not going to harp on these things. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. You guys, any of you who watch my videos, you know my style, you know my methods, okay? We're putting in higher lows, stay out of puts. If we're putting in lower highs, stay out of calls. It's a very simple thing, right? And we were able to find a banger of a trade to the upside simply by recognizing the higher lows early. We almost caught the entirety of the trade. We did catch the entirety of the first move down today. Whether you stayed in the trade or not for the whole thing is a completely different story. But we were able to time the top. We were able to time the bottom. Okay? For myself, I took two trades during that move down today, and I didn't catch 100% of either one of them. My first one was a 36.5% win. The second one was a 35.4% win. Two trades and done for me. It was a very, very green day, but let's go ahead, launch the charts, and see what we were doing. Pre-market this morning was pretty tame, all things considered. We had most of the top 10 was green. I was quite surprised that we didn't move up in the open, but we had a call line. Call line was simply a breach above 534.65. As you could see, we never came close to it. In fact, we stayed below Friday's high of day, which is the pink line. The pink line is the stink line. We were moving into the open, kind of sideways, but because the majority of the market at least seemed to be opening green, I was ready for calls, okay? Now, today I was being patient, as was a lot of people in here, because we didn't break high. We couldn't get through the pink line. Qs were stuck at the pink line, okay? While we're watching this happen, ADD at the same time was selling off. Now, the reason we waited a couple of minutes is because I wanted to make sure that the Qs and SPY were not going to get through this pink line. I said to everybody, guys, I know Qs are putting in higher lows. ADD is selling off. Qs are at a solid resistance. There's two lines here. If you're interested in taking puts, now is the time. That was at 9:35 this morning. Okay. Now our put line was at 534.06. We wanted a candle close below that, which also happened on this line anyway. And Qs were at resistance. The rules were, if Qs closes above these lines, we got to stop out of this trade. Otherwise, ADD is selling off. Hopefully Qs follow shortly thereafter, and we'll take a ride to downtown. Here we go. I put an alert down here on this line. Okay, we had an alert here on this line, and then we had one here. Okay, we got in. Now, if you were trading line to line, this was a reason you got in, you got out. I was aiming for this line down here because I believe that's when the Qs was going to hit its first alert. No, this one here is where I got out on this trade. Okay, 941. So I got in on this candle. I got out when SPY and Qs hit their support levels. Now, again, at this point, I wasn't expecting a move this big down. You never expect them to be this big or that clean. This was a beautiful move to the downside. Very, very comfortable. But we got in, we got out. Looked like we still wanted to go down. ADD was still selling off. Qs was closing below support, and then pulled back to resistance during a downtrend. Guys, if you're ever wanting to get into puts and we're already trending down, make sure you find a pullback that is terminating at a line of resistance on both Qs and the SPY. You had one here at 940, okay, but since we were still in a trade, it didn't matter, but also pulling back to resistance at that time, okay? We had one again at 943, SPY pulling back at 943. Give it a go. So we got in here, and then we were looking to take this trade down a little bit farther, whether it was down to this line here, whether it was to here. Okay, we knew where support was going to be. We were really aiming for this bottom line here. A little bit of a pullback again at 951. So I was in this trade and I got stopped out on this big green candle right here. I got stopped out. So as we were moving down, hoping to get to our profit target, which it did a few minutes later, we had stops. We were trailing our stops. Got stopped out of this trade somewhere in this 950 candle, which is right here. Okay, so I got in up here on the pullback. I got out during this pullback. Too big. You know, we were still below the trend line. We were hoping that Qs were going to continue down, and it did get to their support levels, okay, which is what these two guys are right here. So anybody who stayed in this trade got rewarded a little bit more. But nonetheless, two beautiful trades to the downside. Now, do we expect it to trend down all day long? Not necessarily. Do you hope it does if you're in puts? Of course you do. Why wouldn't you? But sometimes, you know, reality is just not that it's going to go down forever. The fact of the matter is, as you can see, there's not a single line below this other than Friday's low of day. It didn't add anymore, right? But that was seemingly the bottom of the day. Now, again, this line was here at 8:30 in the morning, so an hour before the market opened. What we don't know is which one of these lines is going to be the last one, right? So every time we cross through them and every time we suggest exits, it's because we are hitting levels of support. And as much as we'd like to believe that it's going to continue to move down, once ADD bottoms out and starts going in the opposite direction, you got to start saying, hey, momentum is shifting from selling off to buying up. That is a good indication of what is, you know, going to slow the move down. It doesn't mean it's going to stop the move, but it could be slowing down. And so as ADD starts to rotate in the other direction and you're nearing a level of support on Qs and SPY, maybe take that into a little bit of, you know, account to say, okay, now we're getting down to a level in ADD, which is the rest of the market, is seemingly bottomed out for now. Maybe I should consider taking myself out of this trade or trailing a stop. So the Qs hit support, stop SPY, dead in its tracks. SPY was on support as well. When do we go calls? Not here. Two criteria, always. If we're trending down and you're interested in calls, I always tell everybody, wait for at least two criteria. Number one, break the downtrend first. Okay, well, we get that at 10:01. Number two, wait for higher lows. You had that at 10 o'clock. We recognized this higher low at 10 o'clock. I said, guys, higher low, and we broke the trend. I would not buy puts at the pullback to 532.02. Period. I would not buy puts at the pullback to 1032.02. In fact, if we can close above this resistance right here, I'd be interested in calls. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, okay? 10:02, we get, or 10:05, sorry, we get that first close. Qs closed above their resistance. No telling how high it's going to go. But as we got up near this pink line again, I was like, guys, got to be careful. Qs and SPY are getting up to the level that they started to have problems moving up this morning, okay? So as we move up, we let people know, 10:16, 10:15, hey, we're getting to a level that the Qs really struggled to go higher. That's what these exits here are for, okay? This was a beautiful move to the upside. Now, you don't have to get out of these trades, as you guys know. Just move your stops up. Just move them up. You don't have to make them super tight, but just make it so that you don't pull back so much, even if you're green, that you say, man, I really like the taste of that extra green I once had. Let me stay in this trade a little longer while it dumps and goes the other way. It's an easy way to become a hold and hoper. Trail your stops. You don't have to get out so that if the move does continue, you could take part of that, but don't sell yourself short by putting your stop really, really tight unless you're happy with the move you've already gotten. If that's the case, just take yourself out of the trade. Okay. I didn't play any more trades after this one here and this one here. I was done for the day. Very, very green day today. And anyway, the move continues to go up. Up and up and up and up and up and up. And as we are watching this, we're keeping an eye on the Qs. Qs are breaking resistances. And I said, you know, it's funny. I had somebody mention, yeah, I've never seen a curved line of resistance. I said, my concern was here. This was a nice move down. This was a gradual move up that was looking like it was mooning. Okay, so we had it on a line. I had it over the top like this. I said, guys, you know, the trajectory of this is flattening out. Something you got to pay attention to, right? It's something you got to pay attention to. We are at resistances both on SPY and Qs. Okay, we're getting to a point where it's slowing down. ADD is flattening out and moving lower. It was right around 11 o'clock that we were talking about this. And was I expecting this to fall? No, absolutely not. Anybody who tells you they were is full of shit. However, we did recognize that the move was slowly turning more sideways than vertical. And then we started putting in lower highs. Guys, what are lower highs bad for? Calls, right? They're bad for calls. So if you're looking for calls while we're putting in lower highs, that's the wrong thing to be looking for. You should be saying, okay, lower highs are bad for calls. When should I consider puts? When should I consider puts? And oh, by the way, the call scenario worked. I think every time we crossed it from being below it to the upside, okay? But when should you be buying puts or considering them? You don't have to buy them. Make sure we're breaking resistances. Okay, this is a wedge down right here. Lower highs on support. We should be expecting support to fail. Now, if you happen to get in this trade expecting just a small move, well, you were welcomed with a beautiful move to the downside. Okay, huge. And look at where it stops. Right on support, 1124 on SPY. Right on support, 1124 on the Qs. Again, we don't know where it's going to end. We don't know where it's going to stop moving down. We don't know any of this. So just take the ride, get off the bus when you feel comfortable, but trail your stops in case it pulls back. Now, if you stayed in this trade, because you were very green at that point, we pull back to resistance, that's fine. You might say, all right, or you might have bought puts here. That's fine. But the minute we do not make it back down to the support we just came off of, higher lows are bad for what? Puts. So if you bought puts here and you recognize this, get out before it hurts. If you are still holding puts from here and we pull back and you see this, get out while you're still very much green. Because this turned into a wedge. Wedges tend to break up. This kind of wedge. I was talking to a brand new member about this very trade as it was playing out. Okay? Right here. We were talking about it off of this higher low to begin with. Guys, higher lows are bad for puts. If you're in puts, get out. This thing is likely to break up, not down. If you're interested in playing it, play it off the trend line or wait for the break of the resistance itself. Okay? Whatever you want to do. Expect it to go up. And that was a beautiful move to the upside, right? And then, if you're still in calls, this is what we were talking about. Just be aware that we're moving near the level that both Qs and SPY just came off of a massive sell-off, okay? As we get near that, if we get to a level of resistance, even though it's not the one that caused this, just be prepared for something similar or at least some selling to take place. We got it right off of 453.49. You got it here on SPY. You maximize the trade, okay? Then we drop down sideways, a little bit more of a drop. Now I'm at lunch at this point, so there's nothing to talk about here. Then, what do we have here again? Another wedge, okay? Except this time you have this kind of a wedge. We were talking about this while it was happening. Guys, this is a wedge right here. You have the opportunity. Never get into trades during a wedge, but if the wedge breaks high, you got to look left. Is there enough room for movement to make payment, to make any money? In this case, no. And if you get above this one, the next one's the yellow line. Still no. But if we get below this teal line, your next line of support is all the way down here, okay? And if we get through that, you're looking for the double bottom. We broke, got below on Qs and SPY. They both broke the wedge to the downside with room to go to the next support. We got there, closed below it. Once we close below it, guys, hang on. We're expecting the next support down from there, right here. We close below it, we right to the next line. Okay? That was it. That was the last trade. You didn't need more than that. If you didn't take any of the trades to the downside or the upside this morning, you didn't see something you felt comfortable with. And I got to tell you, you probably didn't see anything else that you were comfortable with. If a move like this or like this is not comforting to you, comfortable enough to take a trade, it's nothing wrong with you. It's just that it's going to be, you have to ask yourself, what is it that you need to see in order to put your money at risk in taking a trade? Because I've come to find that people who miss very good, clean moves oftentimes get frustrated and force themselves to take a trade that's nowhere near clean or nice and ends up losing money or getting into a trade too aggressively, ends up getting out of the trade too soon, ends up holding and hoping. Like all kinds of bad things come from that. So I would recommend that you walk away. If you didn't take anything that was nice and clean and with justifiable reason, sitting around watching a chart, especially if you didn't take any trades throughout the day, is just going to get more and more aggravating for you, okay? From there, we kind of just moved sideways for the most part. And yeah, the 350 rule kind of worked out, 350 candle. If it closes green, we usually, 68% of the time, I think it is, we close above the 350 closing price. That was true today. I don't trade that. I wouldn't trade that. I'm just fun fact. Okay. This is what the poll was at 4 o'clock when we left. So 19 red, 156 green. That's like 8-1. That's not terrible. That's actually amazing. So congratulations to the people in our community. I hope you had a fantastic day. With that, we're going to wrap this up. I hope you found some useful information in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to join our Discord community, well, we'd love to have you. There's a link down below. It's completely free for the first week. You don't have to become a paying member. If you like what you get for that week and you do want to stay in the room and have access to some other things that you won't have access to as a temp patron, please consider becoming a paying member. I'd appreciate it, and I hope that you find value in doing so. And that's pretty much it. So tomorrow we're going to get PPI, make things expensive. Contract-wise, it's going to be an interesting rest of the week, as a matter of fact. But yeah, thank you for watching. Till tomorrow, I hope you guys did great today. I love you guys. See you.